afternoon, children. Today we are going to deal with the fifth chapter of your textbook, Footprints Without Feet. As you know, the third and fourth chapters, namely The Midnight Visitor and A Question of Trust, has been deleted. So, children, in this chapter, you are going to learn the story of a scientist who discovers how to make himself invisible. Actually, this story is a part of a novel by the name The Invisible by H.G. Wells. And you are having only one chapter of that novel to learn in this lesson. The two boys started in surprise at the fresh, muddy imprints of a pair of bare feet. What was a barefooted man doing on the steps of a house in the middle of London? And where was the man? As they gazed, a remarkable sight met their eyes. A fresh footmark appeared from nowhere. Further footprints followed one after another. Descending the steps and progressing down the street, the boys followed, fascinated, until the muddy impressions became fainter and fainter, and at last disappeared altogether. The explanation of the mystery was really simple enough. The bewildered boys had been following a scientist who had just discovered how to make the human body transparent. So children, we have an abrupt beginning. In the introduction, we are seeing two boys who are so surprised to see some fresh muddy footprints, but there is no feet. The footprints are made, but they can't see the man. And the explanation of this mystery is that a scientist is there who has just discovered how to make the human body transparent. So those footprints without feet was made by this invisible scientist. Now who is that scientist that we will get to know now? Griffin, the scientist, had carried out experiment after experiment to prove that the human body could become invisible. Finally, he swallowed certain rare drugs and his body became as transparent as a sheet of glass, though it also remained as solid as glass. Brilliant scientist though he was, Griffin was rather a lawless person. His landlord disliked him and tried to eject him. In revenge, Griffin set fire to the house. To get away without being seen, he had to remove his clothes. Thus, it was that he became a homeless wanderer, without clothes, without money, and quite invisible, until he happened to step in some mud and left footprints as he walked. So children, this chapter is about a scientist by the name Griffin. So he was carrying out some experiment to prove that human body could become invisible. And finally he succeeded in his experiments also. Even though he was a brilliant scientist, he was a very lawless person and he was disliked by his landlord. So what happened is that he is setting fire to the home in which he was living in order to take revenge to the landlord. And he wanted to escape from that place without being seen by others. So he is just eating the drug which was invented by him. So when he is unclothed, nobody can see him. But what happened is that when he set his feet on the mud, he is leaving some footprints. He escaped easily enough from the boys who followed the footprints in London. But his adventures were by no means over. He had chosen a bad time of the year to wander about London without clothes. It was midwinter. The air was bitterly cold and he could not do without clothes. Instead of walking about the streets, he decided to slip into a big London store for warmth. Closing time arrived and as soon as the doors were shut, Griffin was able to give himself the pleasure of clothing and feeding himself without regard to expense. He broke open boxes and wrappers and fitted himself out with warm clothes, soon with shoes, an overcoat and a wide-brimmed hat. He became a fully dressed and visible person. In the kitchen of the restaurant, he found cold meat and coffee, and he followed up the meal with sweets and wine taken from the grocery store. Finally, he settled down to sleep on a pile of quilts. Now, what happened is that he was able to easily escape from the boys who followed his footprints, but it was not the right time to wander around without clothes because it was winter season there in London. So he wanted to keep himself warm. So what he did was that he is getting into a store where he could get some warm clothes, and it was about the time the store will get closed. And when the store got closed, he is wrapping himself with all the warm clothes available, and he is even having food from the restaurant shop nearby, and he is having all the requirements he wanted without even paying for it. And after, he is taking rest in a pile of bed. If only Griffin had managed to wake up in good time, all might have been well. As it was, he did not wake up until the assistants were already arriving next morning. When he saw a couple of them approaching, he panicked and began to run. They naturally gave chase. In the end, he was able to escape only by quickly taking off his newly found clothes. So once more he found himself invisible but naked in the chill January air. This time he decided to try the stock of a theatrical company in the hope of finding not only clothes but also something that would hide the empty space above his shoulders. Shivering with cold, he hurried to Drury Lane, the center of the theater world. He soon found a suitable shop. He made his way invisible upstairs and came out a little later wearing bandages round his forehead, dark glasses, false nose, big bush-bee side whiskers and a large hat. To escape without being seen, he callously attacked the shopkeeper from behind, and after which he robbed him of all the money he could find. So what happened? He was feeling so relaxed that Griffin had a good sleep, and he was not able to wake up before the salesman of the shop arrived. So when the office assistants saw a man, they are chasing him. Actually, now Griffin is wearing the clothes, so he is visible to them. Only his body is not visible. So in the presence of clothes, he was visible. So he is removing the clothes and making himself naked and invisible. So he was not able to cope up with the chilly January winter air. So he decided to find a final solution to his problem. And this time he decided to go to a theatrical company where he could find everything that could hide the empty space above his shoulders. And he is becoming successful also. He is finding a suitable shop and he is attacking the shopkeeper very mercilessly, and he is robbing him of the money. Now what are the things that he decorated himself with are, he wore bandages around his forehead, a dark glasses and a false nose and big bush-bee side whiskers and a large hat. And now he wanted to move out of the crowded London city. Now let's see what he did. Eager to get away from crowded London, he took a train to the village of Epping, where he booked 2 rooms at the local inn. So he was feeling it very difficulty to move around in the crowded city of London. So it is moving to a village of Epping, and he is booking 2 rooms at the local hotel. The arrival of a stranger at an inn in winter was in any case an unusual event. A stranger of such uncommon appearance set all tongues wagging. Mrs. Hall, the landlord's wife, made every effort to be friendly, but Griffin had no desire to talk and told her, "My reason for coming to Epping is a desire for solitude. I do not wish to be disturbed in my work. Besides, an accident has affected my face." Satisfied that her guest was an eccentric scientist, and in view of the fact that he had paid her in advance, Mrs. Hall was prepared to excuse his strange habits and irritable temper. But the stolen money did not last long, and presently Griffin had to admit that he had no more ready cash. He pretended, however, that he was expecting a check to arrive at any moment. Shortly afterwards, a curious episode occurred. Very early in the morning, a clergyman and his wife were awakened by noises in the study. Creeping downstairs, they heard the chink of money being taken from the clergyman's desk. So now, when he arrived at Epping, the village people were quite astonished to find a stranger at their place. But the landlord's wife, Mrs. Hall, was making every effort to be friendly with him. But Griffin was not having the desire to talk to her, and he clearly told her that he don't want to get disturbed, and his purpose of visiting Epping is to find some solitude, loneliness. And Mrs. Hall was also happy because she was paid in advance, so she was okay with the abnormal behavior and the strange habits and irritable temper of Griffin. But the stolen money that Griffin had was not lasting long, and he told Mrs. Hall that he was waiting for a check to arrive and he will soon pay the dues of the rent. So a very curious episode occurs there. Actually, that night a clergyman and his wife are awakened from their sleep by hearing some noises from their study room. Without making any noise and with a poker glass firmly in his hand, the clergyman flung open the door. "Surrender." Then to his amazement, he realized that the room appeared to be empty. He and his wife looked under the desk and behind the curtains and even up the chimney. There wasn't a sign of anybody. Yet the desk had been opened and the housekeeping money was missing. Extraordinary affair, the clergyman kept saying for the rest of the day. But it was not as extraordinary as the behavior of Mrs. Hall's furniture a little later that morning. The landlord and his wife were up very early and were surprised to see the scientist's door wide open. Usually it was shut and locked, and he was furious if anyone entered his room. The opportunity seemed too good to be missed. They peeped round the door, saw nobody, and decided to investigate. The bedclothes were cold, showing that the scientist must have been up for some time. And stranger still, the clothes and bandages that he always wore were lying about the room. Now what happened when the clergyman opened the study room saying surrender and all? They were not able to see anybody. So actually they heard the noise of the money being taken and the desk drawers were opened, but nobody was there. They checked everywhere, under the desk, behind the curtains, and even up the chimney, and the clergyman found it as an extraordinary affair. Now later what happened is that there was something strange with Mrs. Hall's furniture also. So the landlord and wife were quite awakened earlier, and they were quite surprised to see the doors of Griffin's room wide open, because usually it will be shut and locked. So they don't want to miss the opportunity. They wanted to investigate the room. And from the bedclothes, she found that it was a long time since Griffin left that place. And the clothes and bandages that Griffin usually used to wear was lying in the room. All of a sudden, Mrs. Hall heard a sniff close to her ear. A moment later, the hat on the bedpost leapt up and dashed itself into her face. Then the bedroom chair became alive. Springing into the air, it charged straight at her legs foremost. As she and her husband turned away in terror, the extraordinary chair pushed them both out of the room and then appeared to slam and lock the door after them. Mrs. Hall almost fell down the stairs in hysterics. She was convinced that the room was haunted by spirits and that the stranger had somehow caused these to enter into her furniture. "My poor mother used to sit in that chair," she mourned, "to think it should rise up against me now." The feeling among the neighbors was that the trouble was caused by witchcraft. But witchcraft or not, when news of the burglary at the clergyman's home became known, the strange scientist was strongly suspected of having had a hand in it. Suspicion grew even stronger when he suddenly produced some ready cash, though he had admitted not long before that he had no money. Now what happened? When Mrs. Hall was investigating the room, suddenly the furniture started becoming live and started attacking her. And actually it was Griffin who did it, and the furnitures made Mrs. Hall and Mr. Hall out of the room and shut it up. So she felt that the room is haunted by the spirit and the stranger is responsible for all these things, for making the furnitures equipped with the spirits. And the neighbors was also of the opinion that it is witchcraft. So later, when they came to know about the clergyman's home burglary, they suspected the stranger because he produced some ready cash when he said some time earlier that he is not having enough money with him. The village constable was secretly sent for instead of waiting for the constable. Mrs. Hall went to the scientist who had somehow mysteriously appeared from his empty bedroom. I want to know what you have been doing to my chair upstairs, she demanded. And I want to know how it is you came out of an empty room and how you entered a locked room. Now, as they are suspecting the stranger of the burglary in clergyman's home, they are calling a village constable. But Mrs. Hall was not able to wait till that time. She is going and inquiring to the Griffin how it is that he entered a locked room. The scientist was always quick-tempered. Now he became furious. You don't understand who or what I am, he shouted. Very well, I'll show you. Suddenly he threw off bandages, whiskers, spectacles and even nose. It took him only a minute to do this. The horrified people in the bar found themselves staring at a headless man. Mr. Jaffers, the constable, now arrived and was quite surprised to find that he had to arrest a man without a head. But Jaffers was not easily prevented from doing his duty. If a magistrate's warrant ordered a person's arrest, then that person had to be arrested with or without his head. Now on Mrs. Hall's enquiries and all, Griffin was quick-tempered and he became so angry and he said that I will show you who I am. Saying this, he is throwing off his bandages, whiskers, spectacles and nose, and now he is a man without a head. And all the people were horrified. Those who were in that bar were horrified and they were all running here and there. At that point, who is coming? Yes, the Mr. Jaffers, the constable is coming there and he was quite surprised to find that he has to arrest a man without a head. So he was not someone who is to be prevented from his duty, because if a magistrate ordered somebody's arrest, at any cost he will arrest that man with head or without head. There followed a remarkable scene as the policeman tried to get hold of a man who was becoming more and more invisible as he threw off one garment after another. Finally, a shirt flew into the air and the constable found himself struggling with someone he could not see at all. Some people tried to help him but found themselves hit by blows that seemed to come from nowhere. In the end, Jaffers was knocked unconscious as he made a last attempt to hold on to the unseen scientist. There were nervous, excited cries of "Hold him," but this was easier said than done. Griffin had shaken himself free and no one knew where to lay hands on him. Now what happened is that the policeman, Mr. Jaffer, was trying to catch or get hold of Griffin, but what Griffin did was that he became more invisible as he threw off his garment one after the another, and finally his shirt was only left, and when he removed his shirt, Mr. Jaffer found himself struggling with someone he could not even see, and other people who came to help Mr. Jaffer was hit by blows that seemed to come from nowhere. And in the end, Mr. Jaffer was knocked down unconscious and Griffin is making a very clever escape from that place. And all the people there was bewildered by whatever happened because they were not familiar of this invisible man. So children, let's recollect what we learned in the story, a brief up of the story. Griffin was a scientist. He discovered a rare drug. This could make an unclothed person invisible. Griffin and his landlord didn't like each other. One day, Griffin set his landlord's house on fire. Then he swallowed his rare drug. He took off his clothes. He could see everyone, but no one could see him. So he couldn't be caught. But he was without clothes and it was very cold. He entered a store to pass the night there. He stole some food from the shop and ate it. When it was morning, he left the shop. Then he went to a village. There he stayed at an inn. He stole the landlord's money. A policeman was called. What was the name of that policeman? Mr. Jaffer. Griffin took off all the bandages from his face. He took off his glasses and his hat also. Now he looked headless. People were horrified. Griffin hit the policeman when he tried to catch him. He started taking off his clothes. He became more and more invisible. At last, he got free from everyone and ran away. So it's a very short story. And as I have told you, it's just a part of a big novel by H.G. Wells. Now let's see what is the message this chapter is conveying to us. The story describes the life of a brilliant scientist Griffin who degenerated himself into a lawless person. The lesson gives a message that misuse of science and its great discoveries can make even a brilliant scientist like Griffin a monster and a threatening lawless person. So children, read the chapter thrice or twice and copy down the notes given in your class WhatsApp group. So children, see you all in the live session. Thank you.
Here is the summary of the story Footprints Without Feet by H.G. Wells. Two boys watched in surprise as muddy footprints suddenly appeared out of nowhere. As they watched, another footprint suddenly appeared. Curious, they decided to follow the footprints. However, as they followed, the footprints grew fainter and finally disappeared. There was a simple explanation for the mystery of footprints. The footprints belonged to Griffin, a scientist who had discovered a way to make his body invisible. After carrying out multiple experiments, Griffin found a pill which successfully made his body invisible. This means he could not be seen by other people when he was not wearing clothes. Now, Griffin, though smart, was a criminal. He set fire to his landlord's house just because the landlord wanted him to leave the house. He then ran to avoid being caught. This shows his cruel nature. Griffin was now homeless, without money or clothes, and he was also invisible. Even though Griffin managed to outrun the two boys, his adventures were far from over. It was cold in London, and Griffin was without clothes. He decided to break into a store to escape the cold winter night. When the store closed, Griffin indulged himself by dressing himself in warm clothes. He got food from a nearby restaurant and wine from a grocery store. Well-clothed and well-fed, Griffin fell asleep in the store. He was discovered in the morning by the store assistants. The only way he could escape was to take off his new clothes and run away as fast as he could. Now, he was naked in the cold winter air again. So, Griffin decided to go to Drury Lane. Drury Lane housed different theatrical companies, and Griffin thought he could find clothes to disguise his face and body there. In one of the stores, he found a false nose, dark glasses, whiskers, bandages, and a large hat to disguise himself. He attacked the shopkeeper from behind to escape. He also robbed him of all his money. These incidents further emphasize his cruel and criminal nature. Griffin left London for the village of Iping. He booked 2 rooms at the village inn. Griffin's arrival was a rare event in the village. Mrs. Hall, the landlord's curious wife, tried to be friendly, but Griffin wanted to be left alone. For a short time, Griffin enjoyed a peaceful time at the inn. However, soon his stolen money ran out. Griffin had to lie to the landlord. He asked for more time. Soon after, there was a curious incident at the clergyman's house. A clergyman is a minister at a church. At dawn, the clergyman and his wife were awakened by noises from their study room. The clergyman quietly entered the room to catch the intruder, but was shocked to see the room empty. They looked everywhere, but could not find anyone. However, their money was missing. That day, the landlord and his wife were surprised to see their guest's door open. Usually, Griffin kept it closed and became extremely angry at any interruptions. Today, however, the room was open and empty. The couple decided that it was the perfect time to spy on their guest. However, as they entered the room, they heard a sniff from behind him. Then a hat flew at Mrs. Hall. Finally, the bedroom chair flew from its place and rushed forward to attack the couple. Terrified, Mrs. Hall and her husband ran out of the hall. Mrs. Hall was convinced that the room was haunted. The couple, however, felt that their guest was somehow responsible. Then the couple heard news of the robbery at the clergyman's house. The very same day, Griffin gave them some money. The couple was suspicious and believed Griffin was the thief. So they called the constable and went to their guest's room. When they confronted Griffin, he was angry. Furiously, he took off his bandages. The couple was horrified to see no head on his shoulder. Just then, Mr. Jaffers, the constable, arrived. He was surprised to see that his thief was a man with no head. However, he was a dutiful man. He tried to arrest Griffin, but found it increasingly difficult as Griffin started shedding his clothes. People tried to help the constable, but how do you capture an invisible man? They got hit by invisible blows, and poor Jaffers was knocked unconscious. Griffin managed to get himself free since no one could lay their hands on him.